Since September 11, 2001, Minnesota has deployed more than 10,000 soldiers and airmen to combat areas and peacekeeping operations around the globe. After facing the rigors of combat, they faced new challenges when they returned home: reintegration back to their former lives.
The National Guard members and the members of the military and their families are the bravest people in so many instances. We need to make sure that we are responding by giving them our all.
The Minnesota National Guard has pioneered a program in hopes of changing how military service members are reintegrated back to their communities.
I think it was Victor Hugo that had a quote, "No army can stop an idea whose time has come." And this idea has come.
The program is named Beyond the Yellow Ribbon as a reminder that the support of military service personnel cannot end when they return home from deployment and the yellow ribbons are untied, but continues throughout the process of reintegration.
It's a grassroots movement. It's based on the goodwill and the desire of each community.
It's been a long, hard deployment.
The soldiers in this battalion are going to be gone from home 17 months, so it's a huge burden on the family.
The National Guard has a lot to bring to the table.
It's going to be nice to go back to school and kind of start off my junior year.
We have young men and women like you see here today in the Red Bull that are willing to step up to the plate and meet the challenge.
This is the next greatest generation. The impetus for the Beyond the Yellow Ribbon program was really General Shelto's experience in Vietnam and then returning to the Moorhead area in Minnesota.
I remember once sitting there and the other people in college, and I told them I'd come back from Vietnam, and the response I got was, "Oh, you're one of those people sucking up my tax dollars." And I go, "Whoa, okay." So very quickly I learned to just not talk about it.
He saw very quickly that Minnesota soldiers were beginning to experience the same reintegration challenges he and his generation of Vietnam veterans experienced. And so he asked me if I would design a program to address those reintegration challenges. I myself was experiencing those personally, so I had a heightened self-interest. I saw what was happening in my family. It was my second deployment, and I was aware of what was happening in families around me.
As we rank all of the things that we want to have as priorities in Minnesota, the first one should be taking care of our members of the military and the people who protect our safety and security. And they give so much for us. We need to make sure that we match that commitment in our words and our deeds. And so it was really something that I was excited about and committed to doing, as I know so many others were, to move the Beyond the Yellow Ribbon effort forward.
The biggest mistake made is simply not recognizing and not acting on the identified need that soldiers can't just come out of a combat zone and go back on the streets of Minnesota without some kind of transitional assistance.
Taking care of families is probably one of the cornerstones of this position. And I guess the bottom line is everything is centered around values. Our soldiers care about their families, care about their kids. We want their kids to be able to look at what mom or dad does and say it with pride. You know, my parent is a soldier.
Probably the greatest obstacle that we faced was a cultural change for the Army in looking at how they executed reintegration training for soldiers and family members in the reserve component.
We didn't have anything to work with. There was not a model of reintegration, which surprised me As I dug into the research and into Army doctrine, we had plenty to prepare us to go to war. We had a few briefings to warn us about what might happen post-combat, but there wasn't any training to actually help our families and our returning veterans learn the skills they needed to succeed. And so once that was clearly identified, it was apparent what we needed to do. We needed to develop training, and that's what we've been about.
When service members deploy, their families, employers, and communities are all affected in many ways. Minnesota's Beyond the Yellow Ribbon program guides families through developing their own readiness action plans. Before deployment, service members and their families attend a one-day family preparation academy designed to provide them some tools that will help them through the deployment. Leading experts share tips on staying connected, knowing benefits available to soldiers and their families, finances, coping with stress, legal rights, and resources that are available. Support to families continues during the deployment with non-stop resources available by Family Assistance Centers, or FACs, throughout the state, Family Readiness Groups, or FRGs, and during the Family Reintegration Academy. The one-day academy helps families prepare for their loved one's return. It deals with issues such as communicating, single parenting, separation, employment, education, and who can help. The Family Reintegration Academy works to help them through the difficult issues they face.
For me, the difficulties of deployment didn't come until afterwards.
When Tom came home from deployment, I noticed a lot of changes, but they weren't all of a sudden.
I wanted to go out and do the things that I was, used to being a single guy. Now I'm married and hadn't been with the gal I put the ring on for 6 months anyways, because I was out, doing my thing in Kuwait and Iraq. And get back, and a lot of isolationism. So I didn't realize I even had anger management problems until probably a month in, because I was isolating myself when I was home, catching up on internet, catching up with email and friends and things like that. Basically being a bag of bones around the house and not helping out with the kids.
To work through it, we both went to counseling. We both had personal issues that we needed to work on about as far as our expectations of what we expected when he came home, and how reality was. So we both went to counseling, and it helped us, and we decided, yes, we want to make this marriage work. Yes, we're going to work at it. And it's been a long road. Honestly, it's probably been the toughest thing I've had. Dealing with deployment was easy. It was piece of cake compared to this.
But the problem is, it took my wife took Jess to actually call up a county service rep and say, hey, these are the things I'm seeing. Is this normal? Is this weird? And what kind of help can we get him? If you had told me that I had been diagnosed with possible PTSD and possible anger management issues, I would have told you were nuts. But then the docs told me I was possibly nuts, and that totally changed things.
Marriage is work. You have two different people with two different personalities, and as with anybody in any relationship in life, there are days where you just can't stand each other. But that's part of it, and it all comes back to knowing that you love that person and you want to be with that person, and remembering why you love and wanted to be with that person in the first place.
The toughest part about coming home is probably